gas.
Okay. So when it comes to that, the very first section is कि how we transfer heat through all these three states of matter. तो सबसे पहले हमारे पास ये आता है कि we have solid, liquid and gas, and we need to understand कि इनकी properties क्या होती हैं. Solids जो होते हैं वो कैसे work करते हैं. उनके particles are close to each other and they have strong intermolecular forces, right? And जो liquids होते हैं they have weaker intermolecular forces but the particles are still together. On the contrary, जब हम उसकी बात करते हैं gases की, उसमें क्या होता है हमारे पास? What do we have in different when
The
it comes to
particles are
gases?
very densely packed.
Okay. Can you see both the screens now?
Yeah, I can see.
Okay. So when it comes to thermal physics, I'm calling it thermal physics because it is the part of physics in which we're going to study how heat is transferred between objects. सबसे पहले, we know we have three states of matter: solid, liquid, and gas. Although the section they're going to discuss, I don't know what information they have in here. उन्होंने बिल्कुल specific heat capacity के साथ portion को शुरू किया है. Oh, you have a lot of chapters. So we have three modes of transfer of energy in context to the three states of matter. ठीक है? Solid में क्या होते हैं? Tightly packed होते हैं with strong intermolecular forces, weakly होते हैं and totally free होते हैं. So we have three mode of transfer of energy which we apply to that. The first one is conduction. It's purely for solids. Then we have convection. It's for fluids, and fluids हम already discuss कर चुके हैं जिसमें air and water दोनों आ जाता है. That is liquid and gas दोनों consider होते हैं उसमें. And third one is radiation. That occurs through vacuum. Which means the first two, these two, are medium dependent. And what are these actually? Convection, conduction, and radiation? Modes of transfer of thermal energy. Okay. So if conduction is for solid, this means अच्छा इसके अंदर फिर further solids two types में divide होते हैं. What are the two types for solid?
I don't know.
Uh, Insulators and
Oh, conductors and insulators.
yes, conductors and insulator. What is the difference between these two?
A conductor can conduct what do you call it? Electricity, and insulator cannot.
No, they have free. Yeah, yes, obviously that is one of the reason. But structure wise क्योंकि हम लोग discuss कर रहे हैं तो conductors have free electrons, insulators have no free electrons. So which would conduct better? Obviously the ones who are good conductors of thermal energy. So conduction में भी जो mode of transfer of thermal energy होता है, conduction is in a way that energy is transferred from particle to particle. अब insulators and conductors दोनों में ये चीज तो कॉमन होगी कि since the particles are closely packed to each other, the energy given to the first particle would be exchanged to the next one, and later on the energy would go on like this. But what if we have free electron available as well? So let's say this is my free electron. So the moment the free electrons are free to move across the structure. So in addition to the energy being transferred from particle to particle, we will have free electrons which would immediately transfer energy to the next particle by moving itself. Insulators में ये part नहीं होता. That is why conductors are good for thermal energy conduction and insulators are poor. Insulators में हमारे पास क्या आ जाएगा normally? Wood, glass, very common. Conductors में normally हम metals को discuss करते हैं. Do we
I have a
understand?
Yeah, I understand it. In ninth grade, we studied that diamond has no free electrons,
Yeah.
but it's a pretty good conductor of heat.
Yes.
Uh, so how? Like, it doesn't have
The
free electrons.
structure, struck due to its structure, because the atoms are very tightly packed to each other. It's not best conductor. It was the conductor of heat. It was only a conductor of heat. We did not say that it is the best one.
Okay.
We are not saying that they are not conducting heat energy. We are just saying they are weaker at conducting heat thermal energy. For example,
Oh,
if we take two rods and we give them equal amount of heat, versus conductor one is sorry, to both the rods we have put some wax onto it और हमने साथ में paper clips attach कर दिए, ठीक है? And we are giving heat to both of the rods, which would lose the paper clips first.
the one that can conduct heat energy better.
Faster, ठीक है? तो जो हम मटेरियल की प्रॉपर्टीज डिस्कस करें, दैट इज ओनली टू टेक इनटू अकाउंट दैट द कंडक्टिविटी, the slow conductivity or whatever we are taking into account is only because of the structure they have. So the three modes of transfer of thermal energy totally depends on how the material is made up of. Because if you remember, you brought up that thing, that diamond. We studied that diamond and graphite both are made up of carbon. But graphite could conduct heat, but conductivity is better for graphite rather than diamond. Diamond जो है वो as an insulator act करता है, जो graphite है it could conduct electricity. And the reason behind that was कि दोनों में carbon थे, but they arranged themselves in a way कि graphite के अंदर we had free electrons. तो structure matters. Everything is made up of atom. वो तो हम लोग पहले भी पढ़ चुके हैं ना, कि everything is made up of atom. If everything is made up of atom, why do we have so many things around us? It's only because of the arrangement of those atoms. Are we clear up till here?
Yeah.
So now, uh, if there comes a question where they ask for an experiment, how would you justify that which one is a better conductor? तो वो हम rods वाला experiment discuss करेंगे. That will take different rods. Sorry, we will take rods of different materials. We'll attach wax to it and the paper clip alongside with it. So whosoever loses the paper clips first would be the best, and who loses the last would be the worst conductor of heat. Acha, now I'm going to discuss an experiment through which we can justify that why conduction is not the right mode of transfer of energy for fluids. What we're going to discuss next?
We're going to discuss why conduction is not the right mode of transfer of heat.
Yes, why conduction is not right for fluids. Let's say you might have that example given in your book as well. I don't want to go into the chapter first. I just wanted you to have a brief introduction to the chapter. Let's say we have a test tube. I have ice placed at this end and I have water in it. Okay, I have ice and water. I started heating it from here. What I would observe here?
That the ice will melt.
No, we would observe here that the water has started boiling here where the ice has not melted yet. Okay? Through this, we understand that since in fluids the particles are not close to each other, फिक्स पोजीशन में तो नहीं होते ना, दे आर नॉट क्लोज टू ईच अदर, दे आर फर्दर अपार्ट फ्रॉम ईच अदर. लिक्विड्स में कम होंगे, सॉलिड्स में गैसेस में उससे भी ज्यादा होंगे. तो दैट इज व्हाई पार्टिकल्स, सिंस द पार्टिकल्स आर अवे फ्रॉम ईच अदर, पार्टिकल टू पार्टिकल ट्रांसफर ऑफ एनर्जी इज नॉट पॉसिबल. अगर ऐसा होता, the ice would have melted completely first and whole of the test tube, that is the water in the test tube, would have started boiling all together. ठीक है? So through this example, We understood that. अब क्यों हुआ वो हम जब convection को डिटेल में पढ़ेंगे, we'll study that कि why this happened. For now, what we have is a test tube, and at the bottom of it, we have put an ice cube, and there's water in the test tube. We started heating from this point. The water at this point started boiling, whereas the ice has not completely melted yet. Which means if conduction was the right mode of transfer of energy here, all of the ice would have melted first, and water altogether in the test tube would have started boiling. But that did not happen. And let's not forget we are heating at this point, from this point, not here. If we have heated water from here, तो ice से melt होना था obviously. ठीक है?
Okay.
Are you clear up till here?
Yeah.
Now, the thing that we need to understand here is कि when particles get heated, उसकी kinetic energy पे क्या effect पड़ेगा?
It will increase.
It will increase. And when the particles get heated, the kinetic energy increases. What would happen to the particle? Would it move upwards or downwards?
Upwards.
Obviously, हमने evaporation पढ़ा हुआ है ना, evaporation and boiling तो पढ़ा ही हुआ है ना previous class के अंदर. Do you recall evaporation and boiling?
Yeah.
क्या हुआ था evaporation में क्या होता था?
It's just a conversion of liquid to gas at any temperature.
But what was
Meanwhile,
actually happening? The particles with enough kinetic energy would leave the surface, leaving behind low energy particles. Wasn't that the
yeah,
definition of evaporation?
yeah,
The same thing happens here. Okay, when the particle will get the enough amount of energy, it would go upwards, which means it will become less dense. And when something gets cooled down, तो उसकी kinetic energy क्या करेगी? It
decrease.
decreases, and particle would become more dense and would move downward. ठीक है? So this movement of hot and cold particle is what we call convection current. Did we study about electricity at all in the previous section, in the previous class?
No, we didn't study anything about electricity.
As anyhow, whenever we discuss about the current, it means that movement of particle, movement of
Okay.
electrons, or movement. Just let's just say movement for now. So when the particles will get heated, they will move upward, and cold particles will take their place. So this movement of hot and cold particle is what is responsible for the transfer of thermal energy, and we call it convection current. And the phenomena is called convection current. But how it's happening? It is happening due to the convection occurring there. So we can say that in convection, sorry, particle itself move from its position and exchange its energy. अब देखो टेस्ट ट्यूब में भी क्या हो रहा था कि पार्टिकल जो यहाँ पे था प्रेजेंट, particle which was present here, it was getting its energy and was going upward. अब चूंकि heat हुआ, kinetic energy बढ़ी, it would not go down, but it would go upwards. So that's why अगर on the contrary अगर मैं यहाँ से heat up कर रहा होता, अब यहाँ के particle ने उसकी energy increase होनी थी और उसने upwards move करना था, which means when it will go upward, it will exchange its energy with the particles on its way. So when we discuss about convection, it is basically the movement of particle and the particle exchange their energy on its way. ठीक है? Whereas in conduction, particle to particle energy transfer होती है. And if we forget at any time, just remember that in solids the particles are close to each other. They would exchange their energy from one to the other, and that's how that heat energy is going to get transferred. Whereas in liquids, the particles are further away from each other. The particle itself have to move to the next position in order to get exchange its energy. Okay?
Okay.